What dreams or aspirations do you hold close to your heart but have not yet taken steps to pursue?
Have you ever felt stuck or held back by fear or uncertainty when considering making a significant change in your life?
Do you ever hesitate to take the first step towards your dreams because the path forward seems unclear or daunting?
If so, we're discussing what it's going to take for you to step out of your comfort zone and take the first step to achieving your dreams. Whether you're contemplating a new goal or embarking on a new journey of self-discovery, this episode is for you.
Welcome to this episode of Generations Unveiled. So let's start by discussing inspiration. Inspiration is that spark inside us that pushes us forward. It often surprises us, coming when we least expect it. Maybe when we suddenly understand something clearly, or when we want things to change. It's what gets us excited and gives us energy to grow as individuals. At its heart, inspiration is like a powerful push that makes people want to chase after their dreams and goals with excitement and a strong will. It's like the energy that helps them beat challenges, go further than they thought they ever could, and aim to do their best in everything they do. It ignites creativity, motivation, and enthusiasm. It drives people to create, innovate, and pursue their goals. So, James, I know that you do a lot of creative things. What do you think inspiration is?
Inspiration can be a lot of things. I mean, not just like a thing or a song or a sound. I mean, it can be anything. It can be a chair. I mean, a chair can spark you inspiration. I mean, the click of a keyboard can spark an inspiration in somebody. Any little thing can cause the slightest bit of inspiration. It's very surprising, actually. And we have different ways we call, or different analogy we use for describing these different types of like inspirations, whether it be emotional, like a physical object, maybe a person. All these we like an object, we call that something like external stimuli. It gives you an inspiration to from an object or a sound or a picture, things like that, like something that
Well,
you
like
can
your favorite
see.
song, right?
Yeah, like your favorite song, or maybe this picture you really liked, or let's say I got this Hogwarts map here. It's a really cool map. So that alone could spark inspiration in somebody to make something Harry Potter.
Something creative.
Exactly. And things like emotion, say you drew a picture out of anger because someone made you mad. We would call that internal stimuli. Something that drives a person, not like something that's viewable. It's based on your internal feeling, how you are feeling in that point in time. I've made a few songs like this using internal stimuli. I mainly probably external stimuli for me personally.
Oh, you mean external? Are you talking that you got some kind of inspiration from like nature, art, other music, or something to that, or was it something that was more like a challenge or a struggle, like you said, like you got in an argument with someone, or something internally inside yourself, you were kind of pissed off. You know what I'm saying?
Normally,
So
for me, when the internal stimuli mainly comes in like more upbeat forms. I don't really more 9 times out of 10 if I don't make sad songs based off of internal stimuli. I kind of go off of sound for that. I like to listen to things, and I'll kind of listen to a sound that catches my attention, maybe like raindrops. It's a great ambience for a sad song. So take raindrops, and I use that as ambience. That alone, that just soundbite of just falling rain, will inspire me to create an entire 3-minute song. And that's what I mean by external stimuli, or in cases of internal stimuli, I would say hmm, maybe like I might remember like a really nice um
Day
a nice day or something, I guess you could say.
or a good
Just a
time
nice
that you had.
moment, and I'll kind of think of like a tune to that for some reason. I don't know why. I'll just start thinking tunes, and I just write it out. I mean,
That's good.
sometimes I do have other inspirations like collaboration. I do get a lot of inspiration when working with other people. I feel like that is a big help to sparking inspiration in people, is having that other person that's also driving that inspiration. Because not when I'm working alone, I mean, yeah, I work alone pretty well. Like, don't get me wrong, 9 times out of 10 I'm working alone. But sometimes I take the chance to step out and work with another person. Well, working with another person, you also get that like kind of lifetime feedback and uh, live adjustment with that other person, and you also get to learn a thing or two. Like I collabed with one person and learned something new about music producing that I never did before, and now I do.
That's pretty cool. So basically, when you collaborate with someone, is it something that uh, is it something that you're creating or they're creating? Are you actually creating something together? I
It's
mean, I know.
normally it's like it's as it says, it's collaborative effort. It could end up in points
Well, what
where
I'm saying is, like, are you helping them? They helping you, or is this like you're actually making something that is totally different and
well,
together with
yeah,
that other person?
it can be like that sometimes. Like sometimes it'll just be back and forth file sending. Like this one guy, I just recently sent him a clean audio file of the Vox track for the song that we collaborated on, because he's gonna be trying to get that to be played for his company. So there's that. But what we did is it started with him sending me drums. I layered over some synths and bass, as well as custom Vox tracks. He then sent back a second half with some mix of the kind of the same similar elements. And then I sent back a finished version with ear candy, ambience, and the rest of the gist of a song. It's a short song, but it's a song.
And so how do you get into that? How do you get into the when you're working with someone like that? How does that all come about?
It, I guess it really just depends on how you approach it with a person. Um, like with the way we ended up going and collaborating, I ended up just he originally sent the drum tracks to a server chat channel, because on Discord you can have servers where you can have different channels where people can go and talk to a bunch of people, and he sent an audio file of these drums to the general chat. I took them. I put a synth and bass over it, as well as some Vox, sent it back in the general chat, and then he was just like, "We're collabing." So I was like, "Okay, I'm down for that."
That's cool. I mean, inspiration comes from various just different places, which
I
is
mean that
and
even that's a good like example of inspiration. He sent this drums track, and I listened to it. I liked it and caught a little bit of inspiration from it. And then I sent back about an hour later something with a bit more texture to it. He never knew that I was doing it. I just did it. And then I sent it, and he really liked it. And it led to a collab.
that's cool. It's absolutely cool. I mean, there's no one size fits all explanation of how inspiration comes to life, and it varies greatly different from person to person and situation to situation. And that's a pretty cool situation that you ended up in, and then ended up being in a collaborative, a collaborative form, which is nice. I mean, that's but for other people, you never know. I mean, some people, like I said, they could be walking through nature and that's an inspiration from, and that could be an inspiration for them to write a poem. They could create a piece of art off of that. In your case, music. You know,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like this podcast too. There, this what we're doing here was inspired. Um, I was inspired to try something different, to do something different, and one of the things I wanted to do was to have a podcast where someone could, um, two people could, from different perspectives, could actually talk and maybe figure out some things and hopefully help other people. Um, and This is what this podcast is all about. Fueling creativity, hopefully motivating people, helping them overcome their obstacles, uh, fueling their personal growth journey, and then making a difference in their life. So, and when inspired individuals become active, they can have a positive impact on the world around them, which is, they do all types of things. Like can, they can create companies, not just art. They have a tendency to make contributions to society in different ways, random acts of kindness. And then, there's a ton of different types of movements out there that were generated because people got inspired by something, and a couple of them are, if anybody ever heard of, there was the Hong Kong protesters. They were inspired. They didn't, but I mean, kind of inspired out of a situation that they didn't like, but they got inspired and they started to protest. Same thing with the Occupy Wall Street. People got people were sick and tired of and frustrated with what they believed is economic inequality and corporate influence in politics, which is there, still is, always will be. I mean, unless we can actually do something about that, which kick out the lobbyists, and that'll start. That would start. Then you had you have Tea Party movement, even the pro-life movement. All these things, all these movements were inspired by something that inspired someone to do something. And hopefully, this podcast will inspire other people uh, as well. So and earlier, like I was saying about inspiration, there is no one size fits all explanation for how inspiration comes to life, as it can vary greatly from person to person and situation to situation. And the benefits of inspiration extend well beyond personal fulfillment to encompass societal progress, innovation, and cultural enrichment. Um, by tapping into the well springs of inspiration within you, you can unleash your creative potential and contribute to a brighter, more vibrant world.
With inspiration also comes fear and doubt. It's natural to feel apprehensive when stepping out of our comfort zones. We may question our abilities or worry about failure. However, it's essential to recognize that fear is a normal part of the process. By acknowledging our fears and pushing through them, we can unlock incredible opportunities for growth. The only thing stopping you from realizing your dreams are your fears and doubts.
Fear is a complex emotion. It serves as a protective mechanism in humans and animals. It arises in response to perceived threats, whether they are physical, emotional, or physiological in nature. At its core, fear is an instinctual response triggered by the brain's assessment of danger, prompting a physiological and psychological reaction aimed at promoting survival. Fear can manifest in various ways, ranging from a mild sense of unease to intense terror. It often originates from past experiences, learned behaviors, or cultural influences. For example, a traumatic event such as a near death experience or a significant loss can imprint lasting fears in an individual's psyche. Physiological fears activate the body's flight or flight response, leading to increased heart rate, rapid breathing, heightened senses, muscle tension. These physical reactions prepare the individual to either confront the threat or flee from it. However, prolonged exposure to fear can have detrimental effects on both psychological and mental health. Chronic fear is associated with conditions such as anxiety disorders, depression, even cardiovascular problems.
However, it's crucial to recognize that fear can also be irrational or disproportionate to the actual threat. When fear becomes excessive or irrational, it can hinder your personal growth, limit your opportunities, and diminish your overall well being. Overcoming fear involves confronting it, understanding its origins, and challenging the beliefs that perpetuate it.
By doing so, individuals can expand their comfort zones, build resilience, and experience greater freedom and fulfillment in life.
That all said, do you have any fears holding you back? Are there any fears that you know of that have affected your life?
Doesn't everyone have fears? I mean, even small fears like heights or spiders. Some people are afraid of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Me personally, I have a fear of heights. Um, there's only so high I can get up before I start to feel anxiety. And I used to climb 30-foot trees when I was a kid. I mean, so you know where I used to live, and so there's a row of houses and a golf course behind them, and in between that is a tree line, and then there's a certain tree line, and it goes up on a hill, and there's this one tree that we as kids used to always climb. It was about 30 foot high. It's a pretty tall tree. I used to climb that thing all the time. My friends and I would climb it. We had one guy try to get all the way to the top. Now he was nuts, but that's beside the point. Um, but we'd climb that up all the time. But something got into me. Now because I'm older, I guess. Definitely smarter, wiser. The fact that I don't want to feel pain. I value my life. So yeah, when the higher I go, then I start to get anxious. I'm like, yeah, I can't go down. I mean, I can get on top of my garage. Garage is like the first story. I mean, that's not a problem. But you ain't gonna catch me doing the gutters on my house on the second story. No way. I can't get up that high. I get to about the windows, and then it's like, I can't force myself to get up that high. Um, and there's other fears that I have, you know, in my life, and those, some of them are like one of them here, trying to do this. Um, you know, this is helping me get over some of that. The fear of what people think of me. Whether some people like my voice or not. Some people are going to hate it. I don't care. Used to, definitely care, but I'm not. I wanted to do something new, and this just seemed like the next thing, the next progression that I needed to take. Um, but all the way all the way up until now, it took till now. I'd had to get over some fears in order to do this. Because fear will affect your life. And like when I was talking about, we were kind of talking about that fear. You know, something in my childhood. You know, just you take it all the way with you through your adulthood if you don't try to overcome it in some ways. And it could affect not only your personal life, but your financial life. I mean, what you do for a living, and whether you're going to get into management or not, be a leader in your company. Some people just won't do it because they have an internal fear that's holding them back. So, oh yeah, I mean, I've definitely have had fear in my life. So, but I mean, how about you? What
Definitely.
kind of fears? What kind of fears have you? I mean, they've affected, like I said, they've affected
I mean,
me
I have
throughout my life.
I share a similar fear. I share the fear of heights as well. Though mine's not as extreme, I'd say. My fear of heights comes in like when we get to like really tall heights. I could go on top of a house. I could still climb a tree and I'd be fine. My issue is when I'm not really connected to the ground and up high. That's where my fear starts to kick in. If I'm
Well, you're
connected
not
to the
going to go
ground,
skydiving?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did think about doing it. That is something I do want to try. Yeah, I might have a fear of heights, but skydiving sounds pretty fun. Like, I can't lie, but definitely have
Yeah, I
some
don't know.
fears. I mean, I
I
used
know
to
a lot of
have
people that would tell you you're crazy.
probably uh, um I used to have a fear of posting my music and wondering if people would like it or not. Um, I have I had ways of overcoming that though. Like I would recommend probably if you're fearful of posting art or content of any kind, run it across a family or a friend. Get kind of confirmation from a person that you know well, that you know you can trust, because they're more than likely going to sugarcoat it a little bit. Most of people, when friends or family, more than likely they're most likely going to give a little bit of sugarcoat it. They're not going to give you it hard, just straight out, like most of the time, unless you ask for it. I mean, but it'll help you get kind of like that first step into feedback, because it's you're gonna want to get used to that. Is feedback. You're gonna get nasty feedback. You're gonna get good feedback. You're gonna get good feedback that criticizes your work. All of which they're gonna happen. I mean, they happen to me all the time. But
Yeah.
starting out
So,
with
so
your
well, here's a
family and
question for you.
friends, that'll build up your confidence, because the better you get, the more they're going to say, oh, this looks better, because they might tell you, maybe you could work on this, because like I said, they're going to sugarcoat it, and they're not going to tell you straight out, this is not great. They're going to sugarcoat it and maybe like give you a recommendation on like what you could possibly do to adjust or improve. Um, where if you just go and post it online, more than likely you might not get a response yet. Or how a lot of people are on the internet, they are very
Mean,
non-filtered.
non-filtered. You want to go there? Yeah. No, well, you find a. I tell you what, you find a lot of idiots out there.
Mm-hmm.
People who hurt or lash out like that. They misery loves company. They're miserable people anyway. So just think about it that way. They're not really. They're not critics. Well, they think that they are, but they're definitely not professionals. They're not in an industry to where you have to worry about. They're just running their mouth most likely. But here I have
Yep.
a question for you. But so when you're first trying to put yourself out there, you know, how did that affect your self esteem? How'd
Um,
that make you feel?
a little worried at first, I guess you could say. Um, but like over time, as I posted more and as I've kind of watched as myself, like, cause I'll listen to my own stuff from time to time, and I'll just listen to my oldest track that I have posted compared to like my latest that I have posted, and I like to kind of compare how much I've improved. since my oldest post. And the more that I started doing that and kind of just previewing to random people, like, yeah, I make music. You want to hear something? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? What kind of music you make? I'll be like, electronic. Do you like that? And they're like, play it. And then they'll be like, huh, this is actually really good. It's almost professional grade stuff. That's where I've gotten at this point. I mean, before, of course, when I first started, it was horrible. I made horrible stuff. But
Well,
yeah,
that's no
it's
different than
definitely
this podcast, right?
it takes time. Definitely takes time. It's you'll have to build up that confidence for sure, and it's not an easy process, but it's a crucial process. You need to have some sort of confidence, especially about your own artwork, or else your own artwork isn't going to be good no matter what. If you can't have confidence in yourself to create something good, more than likely it's not going to be good.
Well, that's
That's one thing even my teachers have taught me. Like, have confidence in yourself. I mean, yeah, it's a little hard to have confidence in yourself, especially if you're new to something. It's straight new. Um, no confidence leads to failure. You gotta show confidence. You gotta have the confidence in what you're doing and what you're talking about and anything. It really matters when it comes to any form of content creation. I've realized.
well, it's just it goes beyond that. You know, it goes beyond
Oh yeah,
content
yeah, yeah.
creation, but with content creation and putting yourself
But
out there like
if
that,
you really want to get started into
that'll get you
this
feedback,
is
all right.
oh yeah, like having the confidence to be able to really post and like ask people, hey, want to listen to this. I mean, yeah, building that confidence, just being able to speak to a person and be like, hey, yeah, I make this. You want to listen to it? It may not be your style. I mean, yeah, they might give you bad feedback. Oh well, next person. You're never gonna see them again. Why care? That's how I look at it. At least it's like, why should I care about what someone thinks about me when this person I'm more than likely am never gonna see again? It's just like, it's not worth in my mind, it's not worth the struggle to worry about what they think when they're not someone very important in my life. I mean, the people I'm more worried about judging me are my family and friends. Those are the people I'm more worried about judging me, not people online that I don't even know. That doesn't matter to me. I mean, of course, my personal reputation and all that, I want to keep that clean, and of course, all that. But I'm not gonna, it's not gonna affect me if someone randomly comes out of the blue and starts commenting on all my songs saying, "Oh, this is bad. This is horrible. Oh, this is garbage." Because I got like, I've went around to a lot of different people, played my music, and I have been told so many times that I am professional grade level artist. I'm to the point where someone talking my music doesn't affect me. I just kind of laugh at it and go like, yeah, it's bad. It's horrible, man. It's terrible. I just start joking along, acting like it's a joke.
It's a good way to go about doing it because the last thing you want it to do is affect you in
Mm-hmm.
other portions of your life because that's part of the that's part of it is,
Well,
you know, your fears erode your self-esteem. Once you're full, I mean, once your self-esteem is eroded, I mean, you doubt yourself, you doubt your ability. Some people, see, this is where part of the problem is that some people doubt their own value, and the more they do that, it lowers the self-esteem even more, and that's where people get into these big phobias and these big fears, and where they're afraid to something. There's got people that are afraid to just go outside. Uh, so um, it's just fear can rule over your life, and this being out there and putting something out there creatively will definitely give you exposure to people, and their judgment. And that's the thing is some people are afraid. Some people have that fear of judgment, and that's where this is coming. We're gonna get judgment on this podcast. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
and people are gonna be like, well, I don't like this and I don't like that, and
I mean, hey, I'm
I
not a
don't care.
video editor. I it wouldn't bother me. It's not what I'm going to school for. It's not my main career path. Like video editing, I'm not the greatest at it, so it's not going to be the best. So, same with thumbnails and graphics. Like it's not going to be the best. I'm not the best.
Well,
But
that's the
if it
thing.
was
To do
music,
something,
I
it
could
goes
do
over
something
time.
with that. What?
I said with being that this is something new, the more we do it, the better it gets. And the thing
Yeah,
is to
and
keep
that's
on
what I
doing
was
it
gonna
until you
say.
get good
Is
at
like
it.
as you build that confidence, um, just like sending it, showing people, you're gonna get better over time because you're not only creating new things, trying to fix your areas where people are giving you feedback, but due to you making those changes in your work, your pieces or crafts, whatever you may call them, um, those changes are what make you better. Those little changes that you make throughout everything you create. I mean, I still have everything I've ever made. And you can notice, like, you listen to every track I've ever created, you'll notice little changes from each track, from maybe adding a extra layer to a sound, to changing the tempo of the song during a certain point, um, to adding more oomph to a chorus. I mean, little changes like that really matter, especially in your art or your craft. Um, and yes, art and craft are two different things. Uh, I had something in my head before I said that, and then I lost it.
You need more inspiration. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like getting over one person getting over their fears. That's people need to get over their fears.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is people start avoiding doing things. They won't pursue their goals. Just because they fear that they either don't measure up or they might not meet certain expectations or other people's expectations. And then they start to, like I said, then they'll start to avoid doing things, and avoidance can perpetuate more feelings of inadequacy, and then that diminishes their self-esteem, and it just kind of steamrolls, or it could just be something small, but they carry it out through the whole entire life. And when they do that, they lose out on opportunities to get in on something big, or to do something big, to start something. Maybe they had a small inspiration uh, idea when they were young. Could be in their teens, it could have been in their 20s. But for some reason, because of something earlier, or because of their environment where the people around them were always negative, that they didn't feel that they could do it, or no one ever told them that they could. Uh, so they carry that throughout their entire life, and then they'll become adults, and then they don't do anything. So and that could be unfortunate. And but there's things that people can do. There's things that you know if someone who's watching this, um, they're watching it for a reason. They're watching it because maybe maybe they can glean something from this podcast, maybe get some inspiration to overcome a fear, to start something new. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that that's something like that will happen to people because when people getting over their fears, their self esteem actually goes up, you know, and then as their self esteem gets higher, they become better equipped to deal with more fear or any of their fears. It gives a person a sense of self worth, and when you um, the more you are confident in your abilities and in yourself, that's a buffer against negative effects of the world around you. You start to face your challenges. It doesn't matter how uncertain it is. You have a greater resilience inside you, and you're like, no, maybe I can do that. Yeah, I'm, so you start to do the things that you maybe wouldn't have done uh, otherwise. And then like I said, you start to build that self-esteem, and you know it just gives you a sense of accomplishment and power and empowerment.
Right.
So fear and self-esteem are really closely connected, with fear often contributing to lower self-esteem. um, However, you can work to break through this cycle by addressing your fears, building self-confidence, nurturing a positive self-image. By cultivating self esteem and developing strategies to cope with fear, you can lead a more fulfilling and confident life. You just need to start by taking action, taking that first step.
So, how do you take that crucial first step towards personal development? Well, it begins with setting clear intentions and defining your goals, whether it's learning a new skill, improving relationships, or enhancing your well being. Establishing a roadmap for your journey is very important. So, how can someone who says they want to learn a new skill, or improve their relationships, or enhance their well being get started?
It starts by doing one thing. Can you guess what that one thing is?
Nope.
You sure? It starts
Ah,
by making a decision. Okay. You make a decision. Whether you want to learn a new skill so you can, say, get a promotion at work or improve your marriage to the love of your life or lose 10 pounds. Okay. It doesn't, it all starts by making a decision and deciding that you're worth it, that you deserve to live a joyful and passionate life. This one little thing, just one little thing, taking that first step, making that decision that you're worth spending your time, your energy, your money, improving your self image will make the biggest impact on your life.
taking that initial leap is often the hardest part, but it's also the most rewarding. By stepping out of our comfort zones and embracing new experiences, we open ourselves up to endless possibilities for growth and fulfillment.
That's exactly how this podcast got started. A decision was made to try something new. So, James, have you ever made a decision to step out of your comfort zone and do something? Anything?
A couple times. Oh yeah. I mean, every everyone kind of has to, whether you like to or not. You do. I mean, going into your first job, no one's really comfortable going into that first job, especially the first job.
I agree. Uh,
It's a bit
trying to get
nerve
that
wracking,
trying to get that first. I
because you've
remember
never
it wasn't very. I was nervous going in. Yeah, because
exactly.
you don't know
It's
you
nerve
really don't know
wracking.
what to say. You don't have experience doing it.
Exactly. You've never been to an interview. Sure. I mean, maybe you might have done not mock interviews at some point, but it's still nerve wracking because you've never actually been in an interview. It's that first interview, that first job. It's pretty stressful, especially because you're trying something new. It's something completely new. Everyone at some point has stepped out of their comfort zone to try something new. They might not realize it, but when you went for your first job, you stepped out of your comfort zone. You tried something new. You'd never worked a job in your life. I mean, maybe you might have worked on a field, but you now you're working at a fast food restaurant. That's completely different. So, if you really think about it, everyone has kind of stepped out of their comfort zone at least a little bit.
I would agree in that part. Maybe
And maybe
as far as
looking at,
getting their first job or something like that.
I
But
kind of like to
how
look
about
at
how about
it.
something different? I'm talking about you ever try to start a business? Did you ever try to? Well, how about this music thing you got going on?
Well, kind of like I was talking about earlier. That's why I didn't really use it, because that kind of, yes, but at the same time, that built up with that whole process I was kind of explaining, with first kind of showing it to family members and friends at first to see how they would react. And then after I had felt it was time, or like I felt that I had enough confidence to, I went ahead and took that first post and posted on YouTube. Of course, now I post a lot more in a lot of different areas. I don't just post on YouTube anymore. Now I post on YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. I mean, you name it. Um, but I kind of, like I said, I built up that confidence um a little, like, with through family and friends at first, and then that's what kind of allowed me to take that initial step out of the comfort zone towards actually online posting it to public view.
So, what was your biggest challenge in doing all this? What would
Myself,
you have?
like
uh,
9 times out of 10, it's more than likely you are the biggest challenge. It's not your skill, it's not how good you are, it's not really your connections or anything. It's really you. 9 times out of 10, the person who is mostly struggling, it's them. Especially when it comes to taking that first step. For me, it was, I wasn't confident about myself. I mean, I never really had a reason to not be. It was just like, it's, especially with art, it's a little nerve
It's scary
wracking,
putting
because
yourself out there.
a little bit. It is, especially when you're new to it, because you, more than likely, you were inspired by another artist. And when I first started and listened to my work at first, and then I would listen to an actual song, you could tell it was horrible. It was not up to professional standard. But the more I worked on it, of course, the better I got. And the more that confidence grew. And that's what allowed me to go ahead and start posting online. Though when I started posting, I wasn't great. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, my oldest song, it's not great. But even
Well,
so, I still posted it.
that's good. I mean, was there like a specific moment or experience that you felt that particularly stretched you, made you uncomfortable, but you still kept on pursuing what you're doing? Was there a specific time or moment, or it was just something that kept on building up?
Mm. With music,
Yeah, as far as what you're doing, because obviously, it's been stretching you as a person. And you just
there
told
what?
everybody that the biggest obstacle you had so far has been yourself.
Yes.
That's what this is about. That's what taking that first step is about. Is about getting over you, getting over yourself, getting over your self-doubt. you had to do something. Your biggest obstacle was you. And that's what that's everybody. When people don't start doing things, when they put it off for any reason, the the biggest reason is themselves. They're the excuse why they didn't do something, why they didn't get something started.
Right.
And that's why we're talking about this. And why I liked using you as an example is because being a creative, you had to put yourself out there, and the way you get yourself out there is by doing something, taking that first step. That first step was for you to start getting the confidence, and though being this may not apply to what everybody does, but if someone wants to start a business, most of the time it's they don't know what to do. You know what? Do something. Don't do nothing just because you don't know what to do. I mean, if it's do some research, do some research. Maybe it's go talking to somebody who owns a business, especially in the field that you want to be in. Maybe you want to start a pizza shop. Go talk to the owner of a pizza shop. You want to do a podcast. Guess what? Go talk to someone who's doing a podcast. Go look up. There's plenty of information out there on the internet to help you to get started somewhere. But do something. Take that first step.
Yep.
That's basically all I got to say about that. I guess I tell you what, I do believe that was a pretty good discussion. So as we wrap up our talk here on Generations Unveiled, keep in mind that inspiration is like a spark that starts big changes, and just deciding to step out what feels safe and face your fears head on is like adding fuel to the fire of change. So go ahead, dream big, take action, and see how amazing your journey can be as it unfolds right before your eyes. Thank you for turning into Generations Unveiled. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found valuable insight to apply to your own life.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more discussions on personal growth, career development, and navigating the complexities of the modern world.
If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, we'd love to hear from you.
You can reach out to us on social media or via email.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. So until next time, remember to keep striving for your goals, embracing growth, and finding fulfillment in the journey. Take care. We'll see you in the next episode of
Generations Unveiled.